Hello, everybody. Um, this is weird. Okay, I am going to attempt a TBR game. I have a 6-sided die and a 20-sided die. So what's going to happen is first I will roll the 6-sided die to see how many times I have to roll the 20-sided die. I have here numbered squares, rectangles, whatever, 1 through 20 to correspond with the die. This is going to change. This is already not working. This is going to change. I have an idea of how to make it better. Because I don't have any replacements for these. But when I redo it for next month, it will be different. There'll be pockets that will have the titles. At this point, it's just titles written on the back of the papers. So that's going to change. Pretty much what's going to happen is I'm going to roll the 6-sided die, and whatever number comes up is the number of times I have to roll the 20-sided die. I have, I don't know, you can kind of see coming in here on the side of the frame, these are some library books that I need to read. I also have audiobooks available, and of course my physical TBR in my house is just absolutely ridiculous. And I can't even give you a good tour of it because I don't have any bookshelves to put the books on, so there's some in bins, and there's some stacked on the stairway, and there's some stacked here, there, and everywhere. So, yeah, at this point, no bookshelf tour until I get bookshelves. But yeah. On each of these numbered papers is a book title. Most of them are going to be my library books. Some of them are some of the audiobooks. What will be better next month is there will be multiple titles stuck in each pocket so that if I draw one for that number, I can roll the number again. At this month, I will only be able to roll the number once. So if I roll, say, 13, and then I have multiple rolls, and I roll 13 again, I'll have to re-roll to get a different number because obviously I only have one paper at the moment. So, yeah, this is really well thought out, right? Okay, let's just start. The 6-sided die here, we have a 3. 3, 3, 3. So that means I now have to roll the 20 3 times. So the first one, we have number 4. And number 4 is Rainy Undercover, which is a cozy mystery. This is the second in a series, and I have it on overdrive, so I can't even show you a picture of it. This is going great, isn't it? Okay, let's try it again. We have 17. Book 17 is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. Again, I have this one downloaded on overdrive, and I am waiting for the physical copy to come in through the library, so I don't have anything to hold up to show you. Alright, let's try for book 3. Book 3 is number, what is that? 15. 15. And 15 is There's Something About Sweetie. Haha. That one I have. I've had this downloaded on Audible forever, and finally got the book out of the library so I can do a read along while I listen to it. I have really liked the other books in the series. When Dimple Met Rishi and From Twinkle with Love. So I'm curious to see what Sweetie gets up to. It says I can't even speak. Okay, let me get down here so I can read this. Ashish Patel didn't know love could be so sucky. Welcome to the club. After he's dumped by his ex-girlfriend, his mojo goes AWOL. Even worse, his parents are annoyingly, smugly confident they can find him a better match. So in a moment of weakness, Ash challenges them to set him up. The Patels insist that Ashish date an Indian American girl under contract. Per subclause 1A, he'll be taking his date on fun excursions like visiting the Hindu temple and his eccentric Gita auntie. Kill him now. How is this ever going to work? Sweetie Nair is many things. A formidable track athlete who can outrun most people in California, a loyal friend, a shower singing champion. Oh, and she's also fat. To Sweetie's traditional parents, this last detail is the kiss of death. Sweetie loves her parents, but she's so tired of being told she's lacking because she's fat. She decides it's time to kick off the Sassy Sweetie Project, where she'll show the world and herself what she's really made of. Ashish and Sweetie both have something to prove, but with each date they realize there's an unexpected magic growing between them. Can they find their true selves without losing each other? So, okay, they're calling her fat. What is she, like a size 4? Because we all know models are 0s and 2s, right? So she's probably like a size 4 and they're going to call her fat. That seems to be the way with the fat rep in most books. So I'm hoping that that's not the case and that she's, a curvy girl. Being a fat girl myself, I kind of take exception when they call skinny people fat. Anyway, this is what I'm reading for January. There's a lot of other things I will be reading as well. I am starting a new job on Monday, so I'm not entirely sure what kind of reading time I will have. This last year I read 380 something books, 382, 81, I don't know. Over 380 books. And of course, that was only possible due to not working outside the home. I was a caregiver for my dad until he passed away in May, and since May I've been hunting for a job, so I finally landed one, and I go to training on Monday. A little bit nervous. So, I'm cutting my Goodreads goal in half. It was 300 last year. I'm cutting it to 150 this year with the thought that I can always increase it if I need to. I'm not sure what to expect. I know that there will be days where I, have an overnight at the whatever location we're going to. So if it's an overnight situation, I might be able to get some reading in. I won't be able to read while I'm on the job. So, yeah, there's some stuff there that's going to take away from my reading time, obviously. My other thing is I'm going to attempt to read some Proust, which I've never read any of Proust's work. And of course, what am I going to read? I am going to start with book 1 of, let me get the name of the series here. Remembrance of Things Past. Book 1 is Swan's Way by Marcel Proust, and I believe it's over 1,000 pages just for book 1. It's a 7-book series or collection. And over the course of the 7 books, there's over 3,500 pages. So, yeah, it's a chunker of a series, and I believe the first book is the biggest at somewhere around 1,000 pages. Of course, I think it also depends on what edition you pick up and all of that. But I'm waiting for my print copy to come from the library. I do have it downloaded. Yeah. A little nervous on that one. My most recent read, yesterday, on January 1st, I read One by One. What an appropriate book to read on 1/1. Also, winter. There's an avalanche on the cover. Look at all that snow coming down. This was good. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. That's a great way to start off the year. It's got some similarities to Agatha Christie's, and then there were none. In that they're kind of in a secluded location and people are dying one by one, hence the title. In this case, a group of people who have created a music app called Snoop, which allows you to connect to people and listen to what they're listening to in real time, particularly celebrities. Like, for example, I think the example they gave here is, Lady Gaga might be listening to something, and if you're following her, you can listen to the same song she's listening to in real time, beat for beat. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I can see people wanting to do that, especially in the celebrity culture we have now. So that is kind of what this is what's going on here. So this group from the app are taking a ski retreat. There's other underlying things. Somebody's wanting to buy out the app, and the 2 co-founders are fighting on that front. One is like, no, we don't sell. We built the app. We keep the app. That way we can make sure it grows into what we want it to grow into. And the other one's like, we sell the app because we're hurting financially. We don't have enough money to continue paying the app or the people to keep the app running. We'll get millions of dollars, billions of dollars, whatever. I mean, the person who has 2% stake in the share or in the company is going to walk away with like $12 million. So, the people who have 30% stake are going to walk away with quite a bit more. You figure they're going to walk away with what, 180 million a piece? If 2% is 12 million, that's $1 million per percent. So a 30% stake is going to walk away with like $180 million in their pocket. But the one guy's like, no, 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 no. And the other's like, yes, 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 yes. So there's this whole back and forth. It's messy. But that's kind of the underlying subplot. The main plot is, they're at this secluded chalet. An avalanche hits. They can't go anywhere, and people start dying. Who's killing the people? And there's a scene in here that, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, really. I mean, it is a ski resort, so you kind of would have to expect this. Where somebody is being pursued by somebody else on ski. And it is such a gripping scene. I mean, I was like completely glued. I could not even look away from the page for anything. I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? What's happening? What's next? What's next? I don't get that very often in books. This one pulled me in and kept me interested. And that ski chase was phenomenal. I've seen car chases and stuff in movies, and I've read them in books, and they're exciting, but this was different because both parties really were interesting characters to start with, and you add in the elements and the recent avalanche and just all these factors that just build it up, and the tension was high, and that scene in particular just really did it for me. I loved it. That's what pushed me over the edge to the 5. I was kind of thinking, 4.5. And then that scene, and I'm like, 5. So, I needed that little bit of action, I guess. So, pretty exciting stuff. I think I will do a wrap-up video so I can, pull up my stats and stuff on, I almost said Facebook, not Facebook, on Goodreads. And we can talk about that kind of stuff. I watched Books and Lala's 2020 survey thing she does at the end of the year. And I wrote down the questions from that, so I will attempt to answer some, if not all of those, maybe come up with some of my own. But I kind of thought that was a pretty cool idea, and so I'm going to try to do a 2020 wrap-up video. Hopefully, it'll work. And I'm going to fix this mess for February. Like I said, I think I'm going to do pockets, and then like maybe on index cards or something, put the titles, and then I can stick multiple titles in each pocket. So if I should roll the same number more than once, I can pull out more than one title. Luckily, I didn't have that problem this time. Unfortunately, 2 out of the 3 that I rolled were not here. I don't know if Granny Undercover even has a print version. I've been finding that some of the books I've been listening to don't have print versions, which I find to be really, really annoying, because I find I concentrate on the story better if I have the book there next to me. But it is what it is. Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy is the second in a series. Granny Undercover, second in a series. And there's something about Sweetie. Is it really a series, or really more standalones that are kind of in the same universe? But that would be, I think, the third. Unless I've read them out of order, which is possible. I don't think it makes a difference. So anyway, this is going to be happening this month for sure. Yeah, it just says companion novel to When Dimple Met Rishi. So I hope it's as much fun as the other two have been. And it's blurb by Stephanie Perkins, Melissa Dela Cruz, and Becky Albertalli. So that's an interesting combination of authors. But I really do enjoy this author's writing, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. Just for some reason, every time I think I'm going to read it, something else happens, or I end up needing something for a different challenge, and I'm like, well, it isn't a challenge book right now, so let me read this other thing first. But now that I did the TBR thing, and it's documented, I'm going to have to read it. I'm glad it's only 3 books. Until I find out how my job and book balance is going to work out. So, yeah. I guess I will see you in the next video. So remember to do all the YouTube-y things. Comment, like, share, subscribe. If there's... Is there any particular book that you think I might like? I read a lot of mysteries and thrillers. And, I mean, as you can tell by the way I've been gushing about One by One, I really like that kind of stuff. Is there anything... I've read, I think, all of the Ruth Wares now. Or at least all the ones that are listed on the back. I've read In a Dark, Dark Wood. I've read The Woman in Cabin 10. That was the first one I've read. I read The Lion Game. I read The Death of Mrs. Westaway. And I've read The Turn of the Key. And now I've read One by One. So, unless there's something else that I am not aware of by Ruth Ware, it just lists the same ones over and over. Something similar. I'm interested. I'm always interested in suggestions. So What are your reading plans for 2021? Obviously, I'm going to read There's Something About Sweetie. I'm not going to worry about punishments and stuff. I think doing punishments on a TBR game is kind of silly because you're punishing yourself for reading. Forcing yourself to read something you're not interested in at the time is just going to make you not want to read. Or at least in my experience, that's how it's been. If I'm forced to read something I don't want to read, then I fight it. So yeah, I think it's silly to punish yourself for not being in the mood for a book. Forcing yourself to unhaul something because you didn't read it in a specific month, I think is kind of also a silly thing. Because if you unhaul it because you didn't read it in January, what if in March that's when you want to read it? Or that's when you have a challenge that it fits a prompt for and you want to read it for that? Oh, you've already gotten rid of it because you arbitrarily decided that if I don't read it this month, it's gone. I don't know. Those rules don't work for me. They're fine if they work for you and you have a TBR game or what have you. It's fine. To me, it just seems kind of silly to punish yourself for not reading a book you arbitrarily chose through a game. I mean, whatever. I guess I should mention this one. This is Mr. Nutta and His Reeky Pecan Peanut Butter by B.B. Mason. It seems to be like a middle grade, maybe low YA, younger YA. Came out in 2020. It's an independent publisher. The author approached me on Goodreads and said, "Hey, I've got this book. I see you read a lot of like children's, middle grade, young adult. Could you maybe read mine?" And I looked at it and I thought, oh, this sounds pretty good. So I picked it up and I tried to read it back in November when I was working the election polls. When we would have a lull, I would try to read a page. I couldn't get past page 1. But I was so distracted by everything else going on, I thought it's just not the right time and place. So I finally picked it up. I am now on page 21, starting chapter 4. And I'm not entirely sure what it is, but something isn't clicking just yet. But this sounds really good and really funny, so I'm hoping it gets better. I think part of it is I'm American and this is a very British book. So there's like words and phrases that are used that I'm not familiar with, but generally I can understand what's going on. The spelling thing isn't a problem for me. I tend to spell some words in a more British way anyway, so that doesn't bother me so much. But the punctuation's driving me nuts. And I don't know if there's a slight difference in the way they do it in England or Britain, UK. But I don't know. There's just little things here and there that's just driving me nuts. And I'm hoping that I can get past that and finish the story. The blurb on the back. Mr. Nutta, inherited owner of a mediocre peanut butter company, the Nut Butt Corporation, has an innovative solution for world domination that is quite frankly so devious, so terrible, so downright despicable, one wonders how he sleeps at night. A huge satellite dish recently installed on the factory roof is a real eyesore and brings with it hordes of complaining protesters. Part of his plan or simply a TV upgrade? And, speaking of eyesores, which practical joker is collecting eyeballs? Yes, you read correctly. Mysterious, monstrous, blobby-type blobs are terrorizing the county, sucking eyeballs right from people's faces. Now what's that all about? Bursting off the page with mischief, chaos, quirky bodily mishaps, and mind control techniques that can only be fantasized by marketing directors far and wide, this action-packed read has it all. And, yes, even the lovable zombie gets a mention. But you won't find any of those gormless grouches predictably shuffling around in search of brains or anger management courses here. Oh no. So sounds fun. I just hope I can get past the punctuation stuff. And there's a few things that I'll read a sentence and I'm like, does she mean this or does she mean that? Just because, the punctuation's different and what have you. Like, in things like Mr., they don't put the period after Mr. Is that a UK thing? Because generally, books by British authors that I've read, when they put out like an American edition, that stuff's not there. And they change the spelling to a more of an American spelling, or they'll change phrasing to a more American style of phrasing. So I'm not faulting the spelling and the phrasing necessarily. But sometimes there's lacks of commas and there's lacks of periods where I'm used to seeing them. So I don't know if it's that because I'm American and we punctuate slightly different. I wouldn't think there'd be that much difference. It's still the English language. I don't know. I'm having a few minor issues with that one. So I'm hoping I can get past whatever it is that's bugging me and move on. But I think that one has the potential to be a really fun book. And if I like it, and I think my niece will like it, I will probably pass it on to her when I'm done. So, we'll see. What else is going on? I think that's all I've got for right now. I need to film my wrap-up video once I figure out my answers to some of the questions. Like I said, I've read something like 380 books over the course of 2020. Yeah, about 30 of those are probably Dr. Seuss books, because in September I did a Dr. Seuss challenge, and I read so much Dr. Seuss. Not even close to all of them. I only read like a third of his books. So I think he's got like 63 or something. No, it's more than 63. It's got to be. If it's 63, I've read about half. I feel like I've read only about a third, though, because it's just like there's so many out there. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now. I will be doing my wrap up hopefully soon. Hopefully today. And we will see you in the next video. Remember, do all the fun YouTube-y things like comment, like, share, subscribe. Ring the bell icon if you want notifications of when I do more uploads. I want to attempt to do more like talking about what I've read and maybe attempt to keep some form of TBR going. I have something like 80 books on Audible that I haven't read. I counted them the other day. It was somewhere around 80. It might be down to 75 now, but because I have been actively trying to read some of those because they've been stacking up on there forever. And I'm not currently using Audible, like buying through Audible, just because I haven't had enough income to support my audiobook habit. And since I can use Hoopla and Overdrive, I really don't need to keep buying audiobooks at the moment. So we're going to try to get through some of those. that have been stacking up over the past couple years. And of course, I've got the library, and our library is hooked in with a couple other libraries. So we have this, it's a consortium that we can trade books back and forth. And if necessary, I can always hop across the river and get my library card back through the Mason County library system and use the one at New Haven or the one at Point Pleasant, which are both kind of out of my way, so I don't really go there. But I can always do that if necessary. If nothing else, I can use their audios, and sometimes I can get things through their overdrive that I can't get through the one through my library. Which, through my library, is the Ohio Digital Library. So I've got the whole state to pull from. And of course, there are certain books that, for whatever reason, they don't have. None of the libraries in the state have. Which kind of is irritating. But I got an email the other day. I had requested a book through Overdrive, and they're like, our library also uses Hoopla, so try there first before requesting a book. And I'm like, this is the first time you've ever made any kind of comment on me requesting a book. I mean, it's like the second book in the series. You've got book 1, you've got book 3. How come you don't have book 2? It only makes sense that somebody along the line would buy book 2 so that it's available. Makes it hard to finish a series. But I did find it on Hoopla, so maybe it's out there, and for whatever reason it's just not showing up through Overdrive, which I don't understand. And I guess RB Digital is no longer a thing? Or at least when I logged into it the other day, there were no books. I don't know. But I found it very strange that I logged in and there were no books whatsoever. So I'm wondering if they've been absorbed probably into Overdrive, because that seems to be absorbing everything right now. All the little guys. But anyway, comment, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.